If you recall, controversial YouTuber Shane Dawson is a new father, and with that, he has completely changed. In the grand tradition of dads everywhere, he is now even more obsessive, absent-minded, and a little bit scary when he uses his angry voice. It doesn't get any more paternal than that. And in a video from 2 months ago, we see Shane unleash all of that fatherly rage onto the unsuspecting mega chain of restaurants Olive Garden. It's an innocent place made for families who want the authentic Italian experience of gathering around a piping hot ramekin of cream cheese and spinach leaves that's meant to be eaten with tortilla chips. Mangia, mamma mia, Mussolini, fascist dictator who loved to kill other people. Oh, you didn't know? I'm real 5th generation or something Italian. My body take out a San Pellegrino and turn it to piss. And as a fellow sort of Italian but really just American entity, I knew that Olive Garden needed my help when I saw Shane set his sights on their Tuscany-inspired faux brick facade in yet another one of his fear-mongering conspiracy videos. You know, the absolute only kind of content he ever tackles on any of his YouTube channels for like over a year now. I mean, unless you feel like sitting through one of his occasional taste-testing nightmares, then you get to watch him slowly digest a dozen discontinued hyper-processed snack foods that he bought off of eBay. But I don't recommend it. I can still see his horrible grin, teeth stained with blue food coloring like the toilet water at a doctor's office. Memento mori. So grab your Italian herbs and spices because today we're following Shane on his most pointless paranoid tirade against capitalism to date. Powered by Shane's special investigative skills, such as doing the bare minimum when it comes to research, name-dropping the Kardashians for clout like it's still 2016, and conducting a completely unscientific experiment that somehow manages to be lazy, disrespectful, and disgusting. And I believe those just happen to be the 3 words that are written on Shane and Ryland's family crest. So ready your coat of arms and prepare to shield yourself from an Italian blood feast. In today's Won't Pass the Health Inspection, Shane Dawson installment of Clip It a Breakdown Italiano. Hello television viewers, my name is Nick. Thank you so much for joining me once again on my channel for another installment of Clip It a Breakdown. This is the playlist where we dive into your favorite movies, TV movies, and other such content here on the web, and we break it down like the spirit of a gluten-free diner at a Olive Garden restaurant. Let's pour one out for my celiac sisters. Sorry it makes you pukey. We look at each individual clip of the cloppy content and we decide if it's worthy of the endless bread and buffalo sticks and soup and salad or whatever. Unlimited soup and salad? Olive Garden. Something Olive Garden reference. We like this thing or we don't. We don't like it usually because it's better to make fun of things than it is to appreciate good quality content. And that's, you got me to say it. Are you happy, America? I'm spilling all of the tea here like it's gnocchi in a bowl at, I started off strong and now I'm losing it. I should have reserved some energy reserves for the 3rd sentence that I say in this video. I'm just kidding. Baby, she's the Energizer Bunny. She's a stuffed animal with a battery up her. That's what I mean by that. Today's video is brought to you by Rocket Money, but I'll tell you all about that in just a little bit. Listen, this is supposedly the first video that Shane Dawson comes out with after adopting his 2 sons, which I think we've covered in past videos. I don't remember at this point, but it's also not the first. Like, we covered this video last month where he like is covering the Stanley conspiracy. There's all these stupid conspiracy theories that he does, and this is the 3rd one that he shot around the same time, like basically on the same day. You can tell, like when he sits down, Lizzie and Ryland, and tells them about his theories. He told them about all 3, and then he cut this one and put it in a separate video for his 2nd channel because he's unable to manipulate the storyline enough to where it seems like there's a plausible conspiracy here, which to me is every video he's ever done. I'm like, there's nothing that you're showing us, and this is empty, hollow nothing, and your life is worthless. I'm just kidding, it's not. He's a dad. But in this one, you can tell even he's pissed because he's like, I don't know how I'm gonna spin this to be something that has a satisfying ending. And he doesn't, but you know, he still puts it up and you still watched it with me. So let's dive in. He's here, she just showed us his Stanley Cups, which we saw in the last video, but now he's gonna start talking about the object of today's conspiracy. Well, he actually talks about 2. The Olive Garden one, where we'll get into it, but first he's gonna talk about this thing with Kylie Jenner's clothing brand, which has gotten negative reviews for being basically cheap cheaper kind of version of Skims material, all made in either Turkey or China or Korea, and then shipped over here. It's not high quality, it's not luxury, yet it has a pretty high price point. It's certainly not living up to the quality standard that Kylie touted, saying like these are investment pieces that are more affordable. It's like, you can't invest in pleather, you can't invest in tissue paper fabric, like let's calm down. And who needs to calm down the most? Shane Dawson, because on this day, he decides that yelling profanities is the nexus of comedy that he's gonna be employing.
These little gaslighting who've ruined my life! When you're here, you're family. And you know what family does, Chris?
What?
They you. I scream because I'm passionate, because I care. I care about you guys. I care about your money. I care about companies you.
First of all, it's none of your business if a company wants to me. You think I don't know that the Walmart Supercenter down the road wants to smash this? Why else would they always be sending me coupons in the mail? Besides, Shane, that Walmart Supercenter also has a Subway sandwich counter and a weird generic credit union that is always closed, which is still a lot less depressing than watching you cling to the belief that shouting and sudden aggression are a legitimate form of punchline in the game of comedy. Like, you just know his 2 newborn babies are down the hall forming anxious attachment styles as we speak. Hang in there, little ones. One day psychologists will study your lives to better understand how early development is affected for children who are raised by masquerade dancers, sad clowns, and other entertainers who can't properly reciprocate a facial expression. When Shane's kids make it to school picture day, the photographer's gonna be like, smile. One of them will be like, and the other one will be like the fucking comedy and drama masks that theater kids like to get as tattoos. Fun fact, those mask symbols are from ancient Greek theater, and their names are Sock and Buskin, which coincidentally were both on the short list of names that Shane and Ryland had picked out for their sons, right after the more traditional names like Tommy Clickbait and Chandler from Friends. Now Shane gets into this conspiracy theory about Kylie's clothing, which starts with a very strange connection that he made, and then ends with several gigantic leaps across several towns worth of speculation. It's a long clip, but I'm not worried about copyright strike for this one, so enjoy, baby. I'll be at the Walmart Supercenter having sex with a building.
I found these Kylie Jenner sweatsuits, and he puts it on, and what's the first thing that he says while he's doing the review?
There's no pockets.
And I saw a reel from one of my YouTube friends, and she said they look like
prisoner sweatpants. She gave us prisoner sweatpants.
I went to Google. Many prisons, all clothing, including sweatsuits, are not allowed to have pockets. Where do prisons get their sweatsuits? So it took me to a website called bulkapparel.com. And tell me these aren't the f***ing Kylie sweatpants. So my theory is that Kylie Jenner is selling prison sweatsuits.
Hi guys.
That are probably 2 cents in China, and they sell them to prisons, and she's selling these prison sweatsuits to dumb rich white people who think they're buying something luxurious.
He sounds really proud of himself right now, so I'm guessing he hasn't quite worked out who the dumb rich white people buying the sweatpants would be in this situation. The call is coming from inside your dumb face. Once again, Shane is presenting something to us as though he's explaining a conspiracy theory, when in reality, he's just documenting his own painfully slow understanding of the product supply chain. Like, sweetheart, I'm sorry that when you bought that $62 pair of polyester sweatpants, you for some reason thought that meant they were being hand-loomed by Kylie's housekeeper in Calabasas. Nope, that's just marked up a lot to pay for the branding. Like, that's business, baby. And it's also what all the reviews had already told us. Also, I'm confused. Is your theory that prisons are also operating as secret sweatpants stores? But why? The profit margins are already so high on the lives of falsely imprisoned minorities. I honestly don't think the prison industrial complex has that many excess inmate sweatsuits to unload on Kylie. I actually think Shane is moreover just surprised to realize that his civilian sweatpants and a prisoner's sweatpants could both theoretically be sourced from a sweatpants factory. Although I don't agree that their shared lack of pockets is the smoking gun he seems to think it is. That's just something we see all the time in clothing marketed towards women. Although I guess women are kind of like the prisoners of the free world, the unofficial inmates of the patriarchy. They have no legal right to set the vibe in their own uterus. Why do you even need pockets, ladies? Are you gonna have an abortion in there? Well, that's illegal, and that's why you're going to jail. Don't worry, I will be there once a month during visiting hours to read you Bible passages while teaching you to knit a fashionable skinny scarf, because a long thin strip of fabric is all I know how to make. Just remember what they say. There's a special place in prison for women who are women. May God have mercy on your unfertilized egg cells. So Shane's literal bullshit theory that he pulled out of nowhere in order to make this video is that Khy, the clothing brand, is specifically buying ready-made sweatpants from bulkdiscountclothing.com, this apparent supplier to certain prisons, because Kim Kardashian has like been working on prison reform, which she hasn't since 2020 or so. Like, she gave up on the whole lawyer thing, if you haven't noticed. And even then, she was kind of using nepotism and favoritism to pass the bar entrance exam. And also her biggest case where she was advocating for prisoner reform, she was really just taking the case over from actual lawyers of color, women of color, who did the heavy lifting until she wanted to publicize it for them. And don't we all just love a screenplay that's full of nasty, stupid little surprises? Sort of like when I was out of the country traveling last week and I got all of these bank notifications for some bike rental apps that I had been using in Brazil. Now that's a nasty little stupid surprise. I do not want to pay for bikes that I cannot ride because they are not in the same country as me. It's my fault for not knowing what I was clicking, but it's thanks to the sponsor of today's video, Rocket Money, that I was able to find out about these recurring charges and stop them before they took a toll on my bank account. Oh, you didn't know? Rocket Money is the sponsor of today's video, and they are here to help all of us with these surprise subscription charges that can ruin our day. Rocket Money is the app you need to save more and manage your money better. I love using Rocket Money to safely and securely connect to my bank account, where the app can then analyze all of my transactions and pick out those recurring charges, and after identifying them, I can cancel unwanted subscriptions with just a couple taps. It's not like I had to go learn Portuguese to talk to customer service or write an email to somebody who may or may not respond. The app takes care of it all. Rocket Money has helped save its customers up to $740 a year with over $500 million in unwanted subscriptions. But it's not just those recurring charges. I also use Rocket Money to help lower my bill. Did you know that you can negotiate your bills to be lower? I mean, I can't do it because I'm a millennial. I was not taught to negotiate, but that's why the app is doing it for me. From your internet service provider to your phone bill, Rocket Money will negotiate lower bills for you. All you have to do is upload a photo of said bill and let the app do the talking, baby. I'm also using Rocket Money to set up a smart savings. I choose the amount of money and the frequency that I want to squirrel it away, and Rocket Money will automatically deposit money into my smart savings account where I can withdraw at any time, or let it grow, baby. Let it grow for a rainy day. To save more and spend less, join the over 5 million members using Rocket Money today. Go to rocketmoney.com/Nick DiRamio or click the link in my description to get started for free. Thanks, Rocket Money. I love ya. According to Shane, oh my god, prison outfits are so cute, is what Kim said, and that's why Kylie bought them off of this website. It's like, girl, you know that's not true. Like, even if Kylie bought her sweatpants from the same factory that a prison does, she has her own neck labels in there. She has her own branding. Like, she's gonna have them sew a set of new sweatpants. Like, this brand sold $1 million on the day it opened. Do you think that some factory is just gonna have tens of thousands of sweatsuits laying around that they haven't sold yet? Like, they are making them for people. That's how factories work, sis. And he would have you think that the no pockets thing is like proof that these were meant originally for prisoners. No, it was meant to save costs. A pocket is 2 extra pieces of fabric and like a lot of extra sewing. It's gonna cost less if you don't have that. So it's about improving profit margins. And I mean, is this your first pair of women's sweatpants? Because a lot of them don't have pockets. Just the sad truth of it. And you can actually find out where Kylie buys her sweatpants from to sell to the world. I mean, it takes some work, but I looked up what Kylie's business name was called, K Brand Inc. And then I put that into Import Yeti, and she had a few imports in the last couple of years, like mainly poly bags and stuff. And weirdly, in 2014, a bunch of French fried potatoes. Either way, the shipments went to this one address in Culver City. I worked there when I was at that hair care brand. Anyway, if you Google that address in Culver City, it's also the main business address for Good American, which is Chloe's denim brand. It's also the main address for Skims, which is Kim's shapewear brand. It's also the main address for Frame LA Inc., a denim brand owned by Emma Gird's husband, who Emma Gird is the business manager who launched Skims and Khy and Kylie Cosmetics, Kim's, like all of those brands, Good American. She launched them all for the Kardashians, which to me is proof that these shipments coming in from China and from Turkey are in fact the ones that are being sold by Khy. And then it's this Eurotech supplier in Turkey who are known for their 3D like knitted seamless shapewear. So it's not bulkdiscountclothing.com. Maybe Bulk Discount Clothing gets their stuff from Eurotech, but the point is I spent more time researching that theory than Shane Dawson did today. And it took me a half hour to come to a better conclusion than whatever he just picked up. He's like, just a theory. There's no proof of any of this. It's like, there actually is proof that you're wrong, but you can't put that in the video because then it'll make no sense to include it in your video. So why don't you just shut the up? You know what sweatpants do have pockets and that I know aren't from Turkey? The sweatpants in my sweatsuit here from the Toast collection on my merch shop. Ooh, color blocked and trendy. These sweatpants along with this hoodie were assembled in the USA using globally sourced materials. That's like textiles and fabric made in China and Japan and stuff. But it's high quality. They sewed it in America where we invented sewing. We made the US flag. I'm just kidding. But I actually do really stand by the quality of this merch collection. And I once thought I was gonna have to get rid of these sweatpants, but I actually found a new supplier. So they are going to be available indefinitely. But that doesn't mean you shouldn't get a pair now because they will keep you warm on those chilly summer nights all summer night long. You can use the link in the description to visit my merch store. Anyway, Shane then goes into the living room, which we've already seen, and he starts talking about this Olive Garden conspiracy. I just cannot.
My theory about Olive Garden. I'm convinced. You cannot convince me otherwise. I think Olive Garden recycles their breadsticks. They are endless. You can get as many as you want. Nobody ever eats them. You eat like one and you're full and that's it. Now you have like 5 left over. So I think they are taking those motherfuckers back to the kitchen and I think they're putting them back in the microwave. I think they're bringing them out for the next people. I believe it because there's thousands of breadsticks. Where are they all going?
Olive Garden's breadsticks are going to the same place their fettuccine alfredo is going. Half into my stomach and half into the trash can at my house. When the smell from the leftovers I took home start to make me gag. So as we heard, Shane's latest conspiracy theory is that international restaurant franchise Olive Garden is recycling their customers' uneaten breadsticks. And this is a theory he got from nowhere, based on nothing, other than his anecdotal evidence that they are quote unquote endless and quote unquote no one ever finishes them. So therefore there must be quote thousands of breadsticks. Where do they all go? First I need you to explain to me where those thousands of breadsticks came from. Like where did you get that number? What Olive Garden location is throwing away thousands of breadsticks a day? The Times Square one that I went out to lunch with my cousin Tara at, I got hepatitis after that. So it tells you one thing, that I am not responsible with my sex life. I keep all these buildings. Walmart wants me. But seriously, whenever I go on an OG B-stick binge, whenever I finish off another basket, my server never brings me 994 fresh ones. They bring them out 6 at a time, or 3 if I'm dining alone, but 6 again if I'm dining alone but visibly crying. That's why Olive Garden is the best restaurant for cry eating. That and their chilled salad plates are great for depuffing under the eyes before you go back to your car. When you're here, your family. It makes me so annoyed to like how serious Shane is. You cannot convince me they don't reuse those breadsticks. Why can't you be convinced? Did you know that there are governing bodies that are in charge of regulating restaurants to make sure they're not spreading foodborne illness? Like everyone knows that the food gets thrown. Like I worked at Dunkin' Donuts. We threw away dozens of donuts every night. You couldn't give them to homeless shelters because of the same risk of foodborne illness. You didn't have a chain of command to know that that food was safely handled all the way over there. So we just put it in trash bags and threw it out. Sometimes people would take those bags and feed them as like use them as bear bait. I guess they were shooting bears. I was an accessory to murder. I'm sorry, bears. Mwah. I loved Paddington. Anyway, Shane is so convinced that he concocts this plan to have them all go to like a Olive Garden in separate groups with brown Sharpies so that they can mark their breadsticks with brown dots and then send another group in shortly after to see if they're reserved a heated up version of the same breadstick. It's like, girlfriend, you have lost the script. It is so sad. I think he's on a high still from when he did this with like CVS makeup and he marked the inside of some CVS makeup that they returned and then later proved that the store associates had put that returned makeup back on the shelf. Yeah, the overworked employee who makes barely a living wage didn't check the makeup with a microscope to make sure nobody ran their fingers through the pan. That's why you should tell them if you touch the makeup when you return it. They accept the return anyway, but like it's just gonna stop them from putting contaminated makeup back. That's what I hate about these theories. It's really not actually like exposing the brand. It's actually just exposing the fact that some overworked employee who is not paid enough to handle this didn't have time to do their job properly because idiots like Shane come in and mess up their whole store every 2 minutes. So anyway, all of them go in separate groups. We have Chris going in with his overdone hair and his really kind of annoying fashion style. I don't know why I hate it, but like he always looks like he's at his cousin's first communion or something. He's a real model. Anyway, he goes in separate, Shane goes in separate, Rylan goes in separate, Lizzie goes in separate, Jared goes in separate, Jared's poor wife goes in separate, then Spencer the producer goes in separate, he's a new character in these videos and I'm already not happy to see him. And then they also place a big online order order of 50 breadsticks, which at first Shane orders unbaked. Then he has to order another 50. It's like, at this point, who's wasting breadsticks? Not Olive Garden. They don't waste more than 6 a table, but you're like straight up throwing the dough in the garbage can. Like, they're all like texting each other to be like, did you put dots on the bread? Yeah. This just goes to show like the servers know anything could happen when they leave that bread unattended on your table. People could be sticking their finger in it. People could be licking it. People could be picking it up, putting it down, shoving it up their and spinning it around, or dotting it with arts and craft supplies like these clowns here. So of course they're not gonna resell it. You bought that bread, the company got paid for it, and therefore it's okay if they have to throw it out because they've already made a profit on it. Like, does this not make sense to him?
Oh my god, I'm nervous. Okay, he just sent me a video of him marking them. The marks look like that. Okay, so that's what I look for.
Ah! Sorry, I know that was just a picture of 2 breadsticks they vandalized, but my brain won't stop interpreting that footage as Shane and Rylan tricking me into looking at pictures of their deformed penises. My survival instincts kicked in. By the way, does anyone know whose shoes this is? Ah! Yeah, it's gonna take me a minute to calm down from this. So this whole motley crew is eating their salty soups and stews like a bunch of, well, you know, they look like Olive Garden customers, I'll say that. Blending in great. That's such a mean thing to say, but it's also so true. Spencer here is the new class clown, since Chris is apparently just there to be eye candy for Shane from now on. They're all so wild and crazy, like they're so wild and crazy.
He just showed us the video of him licking the breadstick.
What?
It was crazy.
Oh my god, you guys are crazy. So like nuts and like almost 40 some of you. So this feels like a good use of your time. Oh my god, LOL. Why are they going nuts for Spencer's creepy, sneaky breadstick lick that Shane apparently still thinks about to this day? It's a restaurant and they don't reuse the breadsticks. You're allowed to lick them. Why would their server be like, oh my god, did you see that guy just put his mouth on the food that he bought? Did you see him touch his tongue to the food that he was gonna eat here? We gotta get him out of here. He's probably on a mission to expose our company-wide policy that involves knowingly putting all of our customers at risk for illness, just so we can save them a few pennies on breadsticks. The breadsticks cost nothing to them. It's 3 cents a piece to make, I promise you. Frozen breadsticks, like they put in an oven, like they're cranking those out all day. I go mad. Not only is Shane insulting his audience's intelligence by refusing to understand that Olive Garden can simply afford to throw away already purchased uneaten breadsticks because that cost is easily absorbed by the profit they get from a $14 watery soup and the 50% profit margin that they make pouring a single glass of wine, but this theory is also once again insulting to the employees, the servers, and the managers who he says in this video are very nice and super attentive. Then why are you claiming that they would do this? Like, anyone who's ever worked in food service knows, like, once you set the plate down on the table, you cannot then take it and sell it to another customer. That's a huge violation. Even if you set it down by mistake, you have to be like, all right, well, enjoy your accidental mozzarella sticks. It's against the health code violation to then put that on another table. Like, they could have coughed their tuberculosis onto my cheese dip. But Shane really started out this video thinking that everyone who works at every Olive Garden in the world just ignores this well-known law and knowingly puts people in danger. Also, they can save 3 cents a piece for their big giant conglomerate overlords. Like, why would they put their own reputation at risk like that? And Shane does this a lot. If you recall, the CVS thing with the makeup, sure, that happened, but it's also like you're setting people up when you touch the makeup and then put it back. Like, don't do that. There's some responsibility on the part of the consumer to be honest with the store. And then furthermore, he did this with the Chuck E. Cheese pizza thing, convinced that they took back their uneaten slices of pizza and put them together in the kitchen as though that wouldn't be a huge waste of time that would be more costly than just making a new pizza, which again costs the company $1 to make and it costs them $17 an hour for an employee. So like wasting a half hour reassembling pizzas is literally going to cost more than just making a new one. Has he never run a lemonade stand? Like, I swear the world would have been spared from so many of these misinformative conspiracy videos if Shane had just the chance to work for even a few months at a normal job after high school before discovering internet fame. He got big on YouTube way too soon in his life, and that's why he's even more out of touch than the teacher of my high school woodshop class. Oh, that teacher had his fingertips cut off by a power saw. I forget how important it is to know that detail for my play on words to make sense. Painfully out of touch. Hurts. There's no fingers to touch. Maybe it's just hard to understand because I told the same joke back in that very woodshop class and I don't remember anybody laughing then either. Only screaming because of what I had just done to Mr. O'Leary's fingertips with the power saw I was holding while practicing the single ladies choreography. So sorry about your toe. They get in their last ditch effort like 75 hot breadsticks from Olive Garden and they're like, surely if they're gonna reuse any breadsticks, it'll be in this rush order of breadsticks that we ordered online. it. But nope, believe it or not, this restaurant, which has a corporate board of trustees, is following some standards to make sure the food is consistently edible and not literally covered in marker from the previous customers who drew on it like children. Because you are all in your 30s and 40s and you're eating at separate tables at Olive Garden for a secret mission. Like you're Mary-Kate and Ashley Olsen kid detectives. None of the bread has marks, and Shane is coming to the realization that this video sucks, which I love to see it. Let's extend that awareness to everything we do now in your life, Shane.
We have over 100 breadsticks to figure out
What are we gonna do with all these breadsticks?
I don't think they're not marked.
Damn it! So what do we do with all this?
I think you're gonna throw them all in the trash with your greasy little garlic fingers, senore. Remember at the beginning of this video when you thought a restaurant throwing away uneaten breadsticks was so unthinkable that you basically accused them of orchestrating 9/11? Well, I guess we learned that once you give a man a pair of greasy hands and an SUV trunk full of steamy surplus breadsticks, it doesn't take too long before he is also willing to do the unthinkable. Oh no, they're upcycling. He and Ryland are fashioning them into a breadstick strap-on. No! They waste no part of what they hunt. And that's all we have to say about the sticks of the bread in this town, sister. I don't know if you're feeling more in touch with your Italian roots, but I am. I feel like Lady Gaga in every interview. Do you feel like Shane is losing his touch with these conspiracy videos? Like, at this point, he's making the videos at a very slow rate, but still faster than they can come up with new conspiracy theories. Like, check out Reddit, baby girl. I promise not every post is about how you are at your job, but like just block your subreddit and keep scrolling. Try to find something interesting to talk about. Sis, I cannot with him. And I cannot with him, like, basically, I don't think he's victimizing these big corporations. Like, they're obviously fine, but the people who work at this restaurant must see this video and be like, oh damn, all those people who came in that night were just trying to catch us being bad at our jobs. It's like when a secret shopper comes into work, you're like, oh, that little, but it's like just some random person who wants to like get you in trouble, basically. So I don't agree with that. Like, let's lay off the corporations and your corporate espionage, because I don't think you're on to something with any of these ideas. No one's reusing their food. Go work at a restaurant. That would be a fun video to watch. See you work in a McDonald's for 2 minutes. Jesus, with the way you sweat, that's when the food gets contaminated. I'm just saying. But let me know your thoughts, audience, in the comments below. Also, give this video a big thumbs up if you want to see me cover even more Shane Dawson content. I have a feeling I'm gonna do it eventually. But most importantly, if you're new to my channel, I would love to have you click that subscribe button right over here. That way you never miss new videos from me. I'm cranking them out so that you can laugh along at the world's garbage with me. Hit those notification bell icons and you'll always be the first to know when I'm serving up a fresh, hot, out of the oven stick of content in the shape of bread. I'm tired of saying breadstick today. Also, I've got merch. You can check out my new toast collection, as seen here, featuring the work of iconic palm strings designer and my friend Trevor Wayne. Also, I've got a Patreon where you can access exclusive bonus content, virtual watch parties, and more excess good stuff, including free merch. You guys are all the greatest. Thank you so much for buttering the Italian bread with me today. I will see you next time. Mwah.